Hey, you wild women. Welcome back to another, what I'm going to be calling wild takes going forward. I'm going to have more short, choppy episodes that are going to leave you with some really cool bite-sized nuggets of stuff that I'm observing in life, whether it is from the parenting perspective, trying to be a great wife, or even just showing up for myself. I am going to download all the things that I've experienced, I'm learning, or observing in this incredible world around us. These wild takes, they could make sense to you or not. I just got back from an incredible week in Tulum, Mexico with 10 other women. And let me tell you, they confirmed a lot about what I thought I was, who I thought I was. And it was like this incredible permission to just really step into the energy of who I am. You know, sometimes we pull back on really who we are. We feel like we need to be louder or even quieter. Today, I want to talk to you about this. It's this thing called quiet power. So, question for you is what if I told you that the loudest voice isn't always the most powerful one? Think about people like Ryan Holiday, the author, or Warren Buffett, and maybe even sometimes Elon as a joke. But let's be honest. Sometimes the quietest voices are the most powerful. You know, you ever sit next to somebody, whether you've known them for a long time or not, and they don't speak that much, but when they do, everybody listens? These could be people that are like the funniest people. Like there's a guy in the studio here. He doesn't talk a lot, but when he does, it's either super funny or super insightful. So everybody listens. There are other people as also a part of their personality, but for some, it's kind of like a forcing function to really be seen and heard. They talk too much. They talk about everything, every thought, everything that they see in front of them. I have a friend like this, and sometimes I just wish I could turn her off because it's too much for this introverted self. And it's almost like the quiet people need constant permission to be quiet. And here I am today. I'm going to give you the permission to be as quiet as you feel. And we're going to talk about what this means to have quiet power, because I think it is a power. And I think there's a lot of people out there that often feel way too pressured to really put themselves out there in terms of like all the things on social media and starting a YouTube channel and podcasting and sharing insights about their life that they just don't want to do. There's almost like they feel mandated to go out and talk about everything, and it just doesn't feel aligned with what they're trying to achieve. So a lot of these people, I coach a lot of them, and they're intimidated. Some of them, it's because they haven't built the muscle. Actually, most people, it's because they haven't built the muscle. But there are moments in life, there are instances, there are seasons, and there are people who are just quietly powerful. So, what is quiet power? Now, I'm just checking my notes here because I jotted this down this morning. Quiet power is not about dimming your light. It is about knowing exactly how bright you shine without needing someone else to hold the measuring stick. It's that deep internal knowing that lets you walk into any room and completely own it. Not because you're the loudest or can provide the best insight or have the best experience, but it's because you're the most tuned in. It's mastering the art of really seeing people, catching the things that others often miss, or even making decisions that aren't just quick fixes, but game changers. See, when you tap into your quiet power, you're building connections that actually mean something. Thinking like 10 steps ahead or a chapter ahead. You're seeing where there's holes in the conversation or in the work that you're doing. And you're creating an impact that has ripples way beyond that immediate circle, way beyond that only conversation. This is the kind of power that doesn't need to announce itself. It's felt, right? Do you ever see or feel those people? They walk into a room and without even saying anything, they command the attention of the room. I have friends like that. And do you know why? Because they are so in alignment with who they are that they feel no need to project. They feel no need to go in and coach. They feel no need to be heard because they are felt. And so many of us have that power within us, this quiet power, and we don't use it for what it is because we feel like we need to always participate in a conversation, whether that is in a room, at your office, with your team, in maybe in your household, at the kitchen table. That constant need and feeling to have to participate. It's exhausting, especially if you don't have anything to say. So you're like racking your brain. What do I say? I am an introvert and I'm not much for labels, but I like to be able to identify with something to have a full breadth understanding of who I am. So maybe I'm like an extroverted introvert, but I will say this, I get exhausted mentally very quickly when I am at a dinner with friends that goes on past an hour. There's part of me that's just like, I actually physically get tired. I don't know if you're with me. If you're one of these people and you're one of my people, an extroverted introvert, DM me on Instagram, Renee_Warren, and let me know. Just say introvert here, put your hand up. I want to know who you are. I want to get to know you because there's not too many of us out there. There's not too many of us that really put ourselves outside of our comfort zone to constantly be putting ourselves out there. Like even me podcasting sometimes, even though there's nobody else in this room, I'm by myself, but I'm looking at myself, which is also weird. And by the way, I'm blonde again and I love it. Haha. Anyway, but if you're one of those people, I want to know who you are. I want to hear about your experiences. I want to know what you're struggling with. Maybe I can help. Because I used to be that person that hated showing up online. And it's definitely moved mountains in my business to be able to show up online and actually sell myself. But that being said, there are days when I'm like, I don't want to do this. And there are also very common misconceptions about quiet power. So let me tell you why people completely misunderstand it. Because we're in a world that is so obsessed with like Instagram worthy moments and TikTok dances and going viral that we've actually started believing that impact has to be loud, that impact has to be flashy, and that you have to be instantly visible, instantly great, instantly have some home runs. People mistake their own quiet power or even that of somebody else's for weakness or hesitation because they're all looking for the wrong signs. They think if you're not constantly posting, speaking up in a meeting, or broadcasting your wins, you must be playing small. But here's the truth. You're missing the whole point, and they're missing the whole point because every loud, robust, maybe obnoxious person that you know who constantly chatting, constantly out there, they get tired too. And they actually have quiet power as well. So also know that quiet power isn't about being shy or holding you back. It's really about being so secure in your impact that you don't need to amp up the volume to be heard. It's about creating real lasting change while others are creating noise. And let me tell you, there's nothing more powerful than someone who knows their worth so deeply that they don't need to convince anyone else of it. Is that you? Maybe it's somebody you admire. Who is somebody that you admire that has quiet power? I'd say Warren Buffett's one of them. Who else has quiet power? You know, even somebody, I just thought about this, like a download is somebody that I admire and someone whom I've admired since high school is Gabby Reese, former pro beach volleyball player, supermodel. She has her podcast and she shows up on social, but she's not loud, but she commands attention. She has that energy, that's this presence, this aura that she's there because she's so in tune with what she desires, with what she likes. And I admire that about her. There are other people. There are even loud people who have quiet power. Can you think of anybody? Loud people who have quiet power. Cody Sanchez. She's loud. And you might think, how does she have quiet power? Listen, it's because I know her personally too. She commands the attention of a room just by her presence. She doesn't have to say much to contribute. That's the other thing too. We think volume, we think adding more and more and more to a conversation or to social or to something is adding value. No, it's the quality of what you're saying and doing that adds a value. So how do you tap into your quiet power? Well, I came up with this framework, which is fun. These are the things I love to journal about. It's called QUIET. It's an acronym. It's QUIET, Q-U-I-E-T. Q stands for questioning deeply, right? Someone says, hey, let's all take the elevator. And you're like, I don't want to take the elevator. I'm going to take the stairs. You're questioning deeply. Why is it that you want to take the stairs? As an example, it's because maybe you want to be alone. You want to get the exercise. You want to get your steps in. U is understanding intuitively. I have been tapping into my intuitive instincts way more than ever before. And let me tell you, it's paid back in like millions, not necessarily millions of dollars, but millions of awesomeness because of that intuition. I used to get like that intuitive hit. I felt it in my stomach, but then I would sit there and I would really think about it. And I would start creating these stories in my head. I've never regretted my intuition. It's a funny thing. And you probably haven't either. So I think that people with quiet power are really in tune to their instincts. The I is influencing intentionally. Intentional influence is like if you're leading your team and you want everybody to perform better, but you also want that for them, not just for the company, because you actually want to teach them the skills to be better at their job. Because, hey, they're not going to be with you forever. Hardly anybody ever is. But why not set them up with the skill set to excel in their career, not just in the job they have supporting you? That is leading with intentionality. You do not have to be loud for that. The E stands for engaging authentically. Engaging authentically. When you feel the need to participate in a conversation, you do. When you feel called to suggest something, say something, share something, tell a joke, you do. Don't do it because of dead air. Don't do it because you feel like you have to. The quieter you are in respect to this quiet acronym, the more you will be respected. And the last one is T, thinking strategically. Those quiet moments can be used to really think about something, to be able to participate, to provide the best value possible. So no, you don't have to be loud. No, you don't have to participate in every single meeting unless it's mandated by your company. But even then, that's weird. So here are some things, the 3 steps that you can use to actually lean into your quiet power so that it aligns with your values, but it actually helps with your lifestyle, helps with your business, really helps you lean in and ground essentially in who you are. Because like I mentioned earlier, in this fast-paced world of trying to like grow faster, claw up this mountain when it's just like for the sake of it, it's exhausting. And at the end of the day, you come home to what? An empty cup. To who? People who want your attention, and you've already just shared all your stories and now you're exhausted, you're vice versa, you don't want to talk anymore. We want to avoid that. So step 1 in harnessing your quiet power is recognition. You have to release the pressure to be more extroverted. Stop it. We have lived in a society where we have idolized people that are extroverted. And maybe there is some research about people who are extroverted that earn more money. That's cool. But do we know if they're actually happier? Do we know if they're actually more fulfilled? I don't know. If there's research, share it with me. Look me up on Instagram, Renee_Warren. But release that pressure to be so introverted because it's not necessary. Notice when you're forcing yourself into someone else's mold. This is part of the recognition. When are you constantly showing up with this alter ego that totally depletes you again and again and again? Stop that. I want to tell you a story. Well, I was in Mexico. So I invited 10 other women, incredible time. These are all female entrepreneurs. We're there to chill. There was no agenda, no schedule. And I will say I was intimidated. All these women, actually many of them are doing well. They're excelling in their career. They're recognized in their space. They're growing. They're having $100,000 weeks, $500,000 months. And that's not me right now. Yet. I'll say yet. And part of me was like, who am I to be here to give these women any advice? Like, I'm sure you find yourself in these situations. Like, who am I to be this person to sit here at this table? I've been in this situation way too many times. But they said something so incredible. They said, Renee, the thing I love the most about you is your goofiness. And I looked at them thinking, are you kidding me? My goofiness? And it's funny. That's the thing that my husband loves the most about me too. And it was the one thing I've always tried to mute, to stop doing, because I thought I was disrespected. I'd be labeled as dumb or stupid or slow or blonde, that dumb blonde. I was fitting into someone else's mold, society's mold of what was expected of a classy, intelligent woman. I can be in those moments, but my default nature is goofiness. And you know what's cool about that? The goofy people, they have the joie de vivre. That's like Mel Robbins is a goofy person. I adore Mel. She has a joie de vivre, which means like the joy of living. And when I feel my goofiness coming out, it's not because I'm performing. It's not because want attention. It's not because I want to make people laugh. By default, it just happens. It is just who I am. It is the easiest version of me to just be fun, lighthearted, crack jokes. And when I need to be serious, I can. So I noticed that, and it really wasn't until like 2 weeks ago, even a week ago, that I felt like I got adult permission to be more of that version of me. The next thing is to identify your natural energy patterns and then work with them, right? Women, there could be like cycles, time of the month that happens. It could be times of day. It could be times of year, but really encourage you to work with those energy patterns. I know for me, if I have a big day of recordings or meetings, I do not want to go out for dinner with friends. Even going out with my husband sometimes is difficult. I just don't have the capacity to hold a conversation. Why would I want to go and do that? You also need to pay attention to when you feel most powerful and aligned. When is that? Where is that? What are you doing? Do more of that. You don't have to be this robust, loud person on social all the time. I do encourage people, if they're an entrepreneur and their personal brand has helped them in their business, to educate and entertain. But you don't have to be the loudest. You don't have to be the one that has 1 million followers. You can do so much with few followers. The next thing is step 2 is acceptance. You need to embrace your natural communication style. I don't like talking on the phone. And please, if you call me, do not leave me a voicemail. I hate listening to them. I love using Voxer and WhatsApp for voice notes. I appreciate text messages because it actually forces you to be really prompt and to be really short. Email's all right. I don't like talking on the phone. There's very few people where talking on the phone actually fills up my love tank and energizes me. But for the most part, no. You also need to find comfort in silence and reflection. And as an introvert, that is the thing I love the most. Monday nights are my night off, which means I don't have to do any parenting or household anything. If the boys have soccer or whatever, I don't have to do that. That's my husband. I actually go and have a bath, or I go and have a hot tub or go in the sauna. When we first started doing this, because my husband's communication style is quite different. He's like, I don't understand why you're not organizing a night out with your girlfriends. Why aren't you going out and visiting friends or, going out for dinner? And I'm like, because that's what you like to do. I don't like to do that. I come to the studio, I'm around people, I have conversation, I may go for lunch with friends, or I'll have tons of phone calls. And my social tank is emptied by the time I get home. And the last thing I want to do is to try to hold a conversation again. And I think this is my quiet power. And knowing that of me, I'm not going to ask for permission to be alone or in silence. It's what I want to do. And so if that's you, I get it. I hear you. That's me too. And if you're the kind of person that needs that constant communication, you could still have quiet power. But just know that you can and still find comfort in silence and reflection. And most importantly, is really letting go of should be expectations. You should be speaking on stage more. You should be on more podcasts. You should be doing this stuff. You know who you are. And you're going to get advice from 1 million people. I mean, some of you are probably in my husband's coaching program, or you've heard me talk about building authority like on previous episodes. These things are important. As an entrepreneur, you got to do some uncomfortable things. But also, in alignment with who you are. So those should be expectations, throw them out the window a little bit every single day. You can still operate a very successful business by being quiet. Look at Warren Buffett, one of the world's richest men. You don't see him all over the internet all the time. And mind you, he's getting older. However, you know my point. And you have to build confidence in your approach. If you've been at the same company for a while and you've always been the chatty person in meetings and you don't like it, and all of a sudden you go quiet, people will be like, anything wrong with you? What's up? You have to set those expectations, but you need to build confidence in who you are. And it's okay to go back. It's okay to course correct and to change kind of how you show up. But, I'm a 43-year-old woman. Yes, I am. I'm like, gosh, that's middle-aged. Anyway, to see the value in not having to contribute all the time or not having to always be speaking or communicating or sharing or recording, it's kind of like, it's a breath of fresh air. So stage 3 is amplification. Amplifying quiet power seems like such an oxymoron, but hear me out. You need to use your quiet power strategically. So this is like choosing moments to share insights rather than speaking in every meeting. It's creating systems or processes that scale your impact without you always having to be present. It's creating impact through depth rather than through volume, right? Maybe it's like you're posting on LinkedIn. Maybe it's one insightful article a week as opposed to something surface level every single day. So there's less pressure to post and there's more time and space to create something more insightful. That's quiet power. Even loud people do that. Leading through influence rather than forcing it, right? So modeling the behavior that you want to see, modeling the behavior that you want to mandate for your company or in your community or organization, asking powerful questions that help others reach their own conclusions, and even creating environments where good ideas can emerge from anyone. It doesn't have to be the loud people or the people that are always talking. And really, this amplification is building genuine, meaningful connections, not just for the sake of handing out a business card. Remember, quiet power isn't about being less than you are. It's about being exactly who you are, unapologetically and strategically. When you align with your natural power, you create ripples of impact that go far beyond what forceful action could ever achieve. And the people that are forcing it seems inauthentic. So your default in the authentic you could be quiet power. Maybe there's moments of being loud, but just know that you need to be unapologetic about this. There's no more saying sorry for being the quiet person. So here's your call to action this week is I want you to identify one situation where you can intentionally use your quiet power. This could be a PTA meeting. This could be at school pickup. Oh my God, that's a perfect example of my quiet power. I don't mean to look mean or sound mean or be a bitch, but when I go to pick up my kid at the end of the day, I actually don't want to talk to another parent. And I say that with all due respect. Mind you, there's like a couple friends there that I do love, but I don't want to have that small talk, that surface level talk. And so I'm quiet. I don't communicate. I'll smile, I'll say, have a good day. And yes, this quiet power might come across as being rude. But to be honest with you, I'd rather just jump in the car, be with my kid, talk about their day, chat about ideas, what we're going to do at night, and go home and snuggle with them. That's all I want to do. So that's a perfect example of quiet power. So I give you permission to do the same and pick up. So the other thing, when you're in those moments and identify that situation where you can actually intentionally use your quiet power, I want you to notice the difference in your energy, in your impact. Do you feel more stressed out or more at ease? So the idea is that you're going to start identifying where you feel good in your quiet power and start doing that more often in those instances. When this happens, I then want you to go to Instagram, go to my account, Renee_Warren, and tell me how it went using your quiet power. And you know, another place, a really awesome, cool place where you can use your quiet power at the Pink Skirt Project. If you haven't heard, on June 12th in Kelowna, BC, I am hosting a 300 plus person event for female entrepreneurs. Come in to either be loud or not, just to be who they are. This is not your average business summit. This is not your average business conference. You're going to be motivated. You're going to be inspired. We're going to breathe possibility into you for all the facets of your life, from health to branding to even financing. Yes, we're going to make it sexy again. Actually, never was sexy. We're going to make money sexy. And then other things too, like mindset and motivation. It is going to be a one beautiful day. If you're interested in joining us, I highly encourage you to get your tickets now. Thepinkskirtproject.com, thepinkskirtproject.com. Book your hotel room. There's a lot of people coming in from out of town. So if you're coming in from out of town, check out Airbnb or book your hotel. They are booking up quickly. And I want to know if you're coming. And if you're coming, shoot me a quick message on Instagram. I want to know where you're coming in from, what your business is. If there's people I can introduce you to at the event, please, please, please check it out, thepinkskirtproject.com. Recommend it to a friend as well. Until next time, ladies, peace out.